Hey everybody, it's Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here in the WCNC Weather Center. Thought I'd do a quick little Facebook Live and YouTube Live tonight if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook about the heavy rain heading our way, because we're starting to see some of the first batches of rain moving into the region. Let me show you the radar here. Oh, that was weird. Yeah, you get the good view of my desktop. There we go. Full screen. It's always kind of weird when you see the whole screen like that. So here's a look at the radar right now. You can see the rain starting to move into the Carolinas, and it's all because of what is now Tropical Storm Sally, but it's eventually going to become a remnant low, and its designation doesn't matter because the moisture is heading our way regardless of what you call this thing. And the combination of that and a cold front could cause some issues. So real quickly, just some showers moving through. I actually had to grab the umbrella myself because we got some light showers already in the Charlotte metro and more moving in. So the rain is just going to continue to pick up as we go into the overnight hours. We'll widen it back out again, and you can see Sally moving to the northeast. We've got this big plume of moisture coming in from the south and east. So we're getting tropical moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, but also off the east coast in the Atlantic. So why are we seeing so much of this rainfall? Well, it's because of that stationary front. That front is kind of stationary, but it's really the demarcation between the really warm air south of it and the somewhat cooler air to the north. And below that front is an area we're going to watch overnight, because as that front lifts north, if we get into some really warm and humid air, we could see the chance for isolated severe weather. You can see the water vapor loop really shows that plume of moisture, and I'm going to kind of illustrate here, just wrapping around and coming in here. And then this is outflow. That's what those high-level clouds are doing that. You see the dry air coming in here. So really complex setup here. Either way you slice it, we've got a whole bunch of moisture that's moving in. We've also got this cold front to the north and west that you see up there. This cold front is actually that autumn front that's going to give us a great cool down this weekend. But we're getting the squeeze play. All that tropical moisture is getting sandwiched between the cold front, the upper trough, which is a dip in the jet stream, and then this stalled front. So it's really the recipe for heavy rain in that area I'm circling again and again, and you'll see me talk more about that as I show you some of the impacts here. So here's the impacts tomorrow. Severe weather, by far our biggest issue. I'm actually going to turn my camera off there for a second. You can still hear me, but you can see the flash flood threat is the highest risk we have. There is a small tornado threat, which I'll talk about in a minute, and a small wind threat, though the winds are really small. I wouldn't even talk about the winds, except when you get so much rain as we're going to see, that's eventually going to cause maybe some trees to come down. So let me show you the flash flood outlook, which I know you've seen a couple times already. Overnight tonight, the flash flood threats to our southwest. Tomorrow, it's parked right on top of us. That's a medium to high threat for the entire viewing area for flash flooding. And then on Friday, it thankfully moves out. Now let me show you the track of the remnants of Sally, just for purposes to see where it's actually going. You can see it dissipates over parts of Columbia. Now the reason it dissipates there is because it's expected to get absorbed by the cold front, which is pushing it off to the east. So this is the last time it's a tropical entity. That's a tropical depression on Thursday afternoon, and then that's just a remnant low as it merges with the cold front coming down from the north and west. So let's look at the Futurecast radar, because this is all everyone cares about, right? Here we go. Here's the timing. Rain moving up from the south. Here's around 1 o'clock in the morning, pockets of heavy rain, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll stop this at 6 right there. Batches of heavy rain. Then look at the heavy rain pick up around 10 a.m. to about noon tomorrow. That is an absolute deluge. That is heavy rain that's going to be around most of the middle of the day into the afternoon. And again, some of these areas, once it starts raining, it might not stop until late tomorrow night. You see the heaviest stuff kind of shifting off to the south and east, and this is a trend to watch. Will we see this kind of shift off here? This is also the area I'm watching for tornadic activity, because this is kind of where the front is, right in there. And south of that boundary is where we could see potentially some flash flooding. Notice by midnight Friday, the worst of it is starting to shift east. So this isn't going to be a multi-day event. This is really just about Thursday during the day into Thursday evening. I think things will improve dramatically as we go into Friday. And then by Saturday and Sunday, get ready for that autumn weather heading our way. So how much rain are we talking about? Well, I think this is a pretty good spread, but you're looking at 4 to 7 down in parts of South Carolina. I think generally 3 to 6 for the Charlotte area south, with 2 to 4 north and 2 to 4 east. And if you look at the guidance, I've been showing this quite a bit just to show you the what all our guidance says. And this is what guidance is our numerical modeling. So you can see, I'm going to stop this. I'm not going to go out too far. Let's pull this back to Friday night. Now I should pull it back sooner than that. Pull it back to Friday at 11 a.m. So you can see all our models that we look at on a pretty regular basis. The European runs, you know, 2 or 4 times a day, depending on which version. Same thing for GFS and the NAM. But the RPM is our in-house futurecast that we run about every 2 to 3 hours, depending on the resolution of the model. So you're looking at a range from as little as 3 inches to as much as 6 inches. That's why, you know, 3 to 6 kind of makes sense, right? That's kind of the range we're looking at. So what could happen that could cause the rain to go up or down? It really would depend on how quickly the cold front gets in here. Remember, I showed you this. If the cold front and trough gets in here sooner, this would actually push the moisture more down to the south and bring drier weather. But if the front slows down and allows the storm to get further north, it would bring the rain more up into North Carolina. So there still is some wiggle room there for potentially where the rain sets up. There's also the potential that that movement north could bring in severe weather. And the reason why, as you see, the Storm Prediction Center has us in that medium threat. The reason we're in that medium threat is they think that the warm front's going to get up in here, and that would allow for warm air to come up. So any storms or showers that develop down there could tap into that tropical air mass and eventually bring some tornadic storms. Now, what are the actual chances of that happening? Well, let's look at the tornado parameter. This is a product we look at called the significant tornado parameter. Basically, atmospheric ingredients for tornadoes. 8 a.m., obviously not much going on. Let's go into tomorrow afternoon. So we stop this at 3 o'clock. Notice Sherrill and Rockingham actually has a little bit, and even Lancaster. But down to our south, you can see it's not huge, but for tropical, you don't need a ton. You're up there in this 1 range on the parameter. Notice the scale from 0 to 10. Basically ingredients for tornadoes. Anytime we see it, you know, point something, I'm not overly concerned. I'd probably keep an eye on it, but once you get around 1, you start paying attention a little bit. As we go into the afternoon, notice how that threat stays mainly to our south and east. So tomorrow, if this threat stays here, areas to our south and east would be seeing tornadic activity, you know, down towards the beaches, Florence, Darlington, Columbia, but this could shift this way. It also could shift off to this way. So that's something to keep an eye on for tomorrow as we go into the afternoon hours in particular. So let's look at the timing of all this, because I think it's important to see where we're going to see the worst of it. I still think probably noon tomorrow, right there to maybe midnight. And that's when I think we'll see the heaviest rain. So again, one of the things working in our favor is we haven't had a lot of rain lately, so the lakes have been all lowered by Duke, and we've got some room for capacity. So if we get towards the lower end of the totals in that 1 to 3 inch range, we probably could handle it. We probably might have minor flooding, but if we get above 3, 4, 5 inches of rain in the time period we're talking about, that would cause some significant issues for the area, and I think that's where we would see most of our flooding concerns as we go into the day tomorrow. So let me show you the hour by hour just quickly. I don't know why that says Saturday. That actually should say Thursday. Let me change that real quickly. I'm going to do the Thursday hour by hour. I don't know why that was Saturday. That's weird. So you see the rain chance is pretty much pegged at 100% for most of tomorrow. So it's rare that I put 100% a day ahead of time, but that's how confident we are in seeing rain. It's really just a matter of we're going to get 1 or 2 inches, or we're going to get 6 or 7 inches of rain. And that's why you're seeing the flood watch issued for tomorrow for the entire area. And that flood watch pretty much encompasses the entire area where we're expecting to see that heavy rain right there. And again, this line could shift a little bit if the track, you know, takes a little dive to the east or southeast, but it could also move up to the north a little bit. So the main axis is kind of like I-85 right now. I know that seems to be the funny cutoff for our winter storms, but in this case, this is kind of where we're looking at for the band of heavy rain to set up. So one last check of the radar there. You can see there's the circulation. And just to give you a perspective of, like, you know, what the concerning part about rainfall, this area south of Montgomery to Dothan, it is absolutely pouring down there. Let me just show you the rainfall rates in that area. So you see that band down here, you know, south of Union Spring. Some of these rainfall rates are in the 1 to 3 and 4 inch per hour. So that's the kind of rainfall in these bands. And I'll widen out this to show you some of the bands in here. That gets over, that's going to cause flooding. And I can actually pop up the warnings here. Those are all the flood warnings currently in effect down there. Let me put the radar back on real quickly. So I'm going to put sweeping radar on, and then I'm going to put the radar on. So you can see, look at all those flood warnings associated with that band coming north. So that's what we're kind of concerned about for tomorrow, moving pretty much, you know, if this were to continue, not that this is going to happen, but let me turn this off real quickly. Just for the fun of it, it's moving at 15 miles an hour, is it? Let me see. I don't even know if this will work. So what I'm going to try to do is do a track. Maybe let's say it's moving at 20 miles an hour. So that would put the heaviest rain. That's actually pretty good. That actually times out good with our model data. So if that heavy rain band moves into Charlotte, notice the time frame there. Right around 1:38 in the afternoon. Rock Hill at 12:30, Columbia at 11. And again, I'm tracking that really heavy batch of rain right there moving up into the Carolinas. So, you remember, before that even gets here, it's raining the entire time. So this might be one of the situations where it rains most of the morning. It's going to rain overnight. And you're like, yeah, it's not too bad, Brad. That's kind of laying the groundwork for once we get the big rains on top of what has been 1 or 2 inches of light rain for hours. We get 1 or 2 inches of heavy rain in 1 hour on top of that, and it causes flash flooding. So that's kind of the concern for tomorrow. In the general scheme of things, this is not an Ivan or a Francis, which caused big-time flooding devastation in the Carolinas and a lot of severe weather. There's something about these storms that make landfall down here in the Florida Panhandle and southern Alabama. They tend to always give us some of the worst weather because typically if they track up here through the mountains, we'll be on that horrible east side. The one thing that's kind of helping us out here and keeping this from being like a Francis or a Gaston or an Ivan is that it's tracking more like this, so we're getting more of a glancing blow. Man, if this thing were to go up the spine of the mountains, we would have some big time problems. So that's kind of what I'm thinking tonight on Sally heading our way. Just be weather aware tomorrow, and then we can get super excited for the weekend because we've got not just cool weather. I'm talking legit late October weather. Highs this weekend into early next week are going to struggle to even get to 70 behind this big front. So that means most of the day we're in the 60s with sunshine and the morning lows in the 40s. You're going to be able to open the windows, start fires outside, get your fire pits going. It's just going to be, one of those great fall-like weekends, and it's happening much earlier than normal because last year, remember, we had 21 90-degree days in September, and we were at 99 degrees at the beginning of October. So this year, definitely completely different. But please be safe tomorrow if you can. One thing I would tell you to do is go grab both of our apps right there. You see the Charlotte News app and the Charlotte Weather app, WCNC, both of those. The reason I tell you to get both, the weather one's great for weather. The news one is great for push notifications and live streaming. So we'll get you a notification if we break in for tornado warning, let's hope not, or if water rescues or whatever tomorrow, we can let you know what's going on. Have a great night tonight. Please be safe. Tomorrow is going to be an ugly day, wash out, but better weather ahead. The weekend looks amazing.